Hello everybody, and a very warm welcome to the Good, the Bad and the Rugby Premiership Preview Show with BetUK.com. I think we're changing the title every week at the moment. That doesn't seem to come smoothly off the middle of the bat, but that's what we're going with. My name is Alex Payne, joined again by the Lord himself as the Premiership kicks back into action after a 2-week hiatus. If you don't know by now, we do these every week until the end of the Premiership season. It's a little accoutrement to the main show, which this week has been with the wonderful Cheslin Colby. And if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, do. He is a remarkable character. You think he lights up the field. He's doing wonderful things off it as well. He talks about an incredibly tough childhood in Cape Town, scoring that try against England in the World Cup final in Yokohama, as well as a whole load of other things as well. It's a fascinating story. So hopefully you'll have some time to check in on that. You can find that wherever it is you normally do your podcasts or your YouTube watching. Just tap in Good Bad Rugby. And lo, it will be delivered unto you. But for the next 15 minutes or so, we're going to look ahead to this week's games in the Gallagher Premiership with a few predictions from Mike and I thrown in for good measure. It's nice to have a bit of rugger back, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's been a quiet couple of weeks, hasn't it? So quite looking forward to getting back to seeing some action. And then obviously it's a nice teaser for the Six Nations to come next week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Tease me till I lose control.
We should actually at this point also say how wonderful it is to be doing a show where the two of us can actually see each other, hear each other and converse, as opposed to do it via the power of telepathy and then let the editors stitch it together. Do you want to tell the nice people what present you've received today?
It makes me very excited to see that I'm fully connected to high-speed broadband now. So thank you, GigaClear, for my 900 megabyte download and upload speed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Good. We all are. This 2-week break that the players have had, is that going to help, hinder, not be a factor? Oh, it's quite interesting actually. Just before we do that, we had a chat with a couple of people last week who were just saying, to be honest with you, they've gone from being really, methodical, and preparation is always planned by the minute, and you're taking on your proteins at the right time and stretching at the right time, and now it's just like, have boots, will travel, game on, no, game off, and no one knows whether they're coming or going, but everyone seems to be quite enjoying it. Really, I mean, it's just part and parcel of the modern day rugby player.
Yeah, I think it sort of suits those players who know how to get themselves into the right frame of mind. The barbarian mentality, really, isn't it? Be able to just rock up and play and not go through too many processes to get your head in the right place. I think it definitely doesn't favour those methodical players. I mean, you look at someone like Wilco now, and if he was having to live with this, he'd get his kicking done, but when he couldn't do everything else that he wanted to do, that would be not sure how it would affect him. But I think that's also why you see some players really, that you haven't necessarily heard of and aren't household names suddenly sort of standing up, because they're the people who can thrive from these opportunities. And so I think it's been a good shake-up, but everyone would like to see a consistent product on the field, and then obviously some fans back in the stands. But we wait with bated breath to when that will be.
Fingers crossed. Those who fly by the seat of their jock straps are the ones who are going to be winning at this point in life, I think. Let's remind you of the blurb. Don't forget that BetUK.com are the official Premiership Rugby Predictor app. They're offering over 14 grand worth of cash prizes throughout the 2020-2021 season. As you make your picks, you're going to be awarded points for each correct result you choose. The player with the most accrued points at the end of the season wins a fantastic 5 grand cash prize, completely free to play. You never need to miss out. The official Premiership Rugby Predictor app is available exclusively on BetUK.com's own app for players aged 18 and over, and that's on iOS and Android. Take your pick. Couldn't be simpler to make your picks for the upcoming games. All you need to do is 1, download the BetUK.com app. 2, register or log into your account. 3, select the Premiership Rugby Predictor game from the menu. 4, make your predictions. Home win, a draw or an away win for all 6 of the weekend's Premiership Rugby fixtures. Submit those predictions, 5, ahead of the weekend. Hope you pick the winners. Really is as easy as that. T's and C's apply, as always. 18s and over only, please. BeGambleAware.org. Right, should we fire into round 7? First up, down in the West Country, got a bit Bristol, gets a bit Bath. Your old side haven't fared well in away derbies recently. Since the start of last season, Tins, they've lost by 27 to Bristol, 14 at Gloucester, and 37-29 and 37 respectively against Exeter. Once the kings of the West Country, now paddling to keep up. You are going to go with...
Yeah, look, if we just go straight off the bat, I think it's tough to not see a Bristol win here. What I do think there's going to be is a lot of points. Obviously, Bath are conceding a shed load of points, and Bristol have the ability to score from everywhere. I am interested, on a side note, is how Bristol will function without their regular 9 and 10 in Randall and Sheedy. Obviously, Sheedy is on the bench. But we know how good Harry Randall's been for them, and him not being in there. And then also, if you look at that Bath team, they've got some reinforcements on the bench in the guise of Redpath, Cokanasina, and Falatau. You'd be happy to be bringing those on in the second half to sort of, if like Bath have done in the last 2 games they've played, they've shot off to an early lead. You'd sort of like that cavalry to come on and hopefully shore up a game for them in the end. But I see a Bristol win. I think they seem to be able to adapt, and the style of play that they embrace suits whoever they put on the field. They want to have a go. They are gonna stick to what they are, and that's going to be with a bit of flair. They're going to push. They're going to go for points. Bath have got the ability to score points through the likes of Joseph McConaughey, and obviously they've got Reece Priestland still there to pull the strings. So I think there's going to be a lot of points, but I think Bristol are the more solid team. Obviously, I think Bath are on a roller coaster where you can get them on a good day, but then they could equally be on a bad day. I do like alternative bets. Obviously, Bath have had 2 fast starts, so if you want to go first team to 10 points, you can get Bath at 4.6, or I'm using decimal places rather than 5 to 1. Or you could take Bath plus 13.5. There's I
think that's a good nibble. But I would back you up. I think Bristol are motoring at the moment, and sort of. I always find this round of games fascinating as you whip out the England stars. There has been a 2-week break. It's uncomfortable territory if you're going on numbers, etc. And therefore I go a bit more to gut, and I just think Bristol are flying, Bath are searching for something. I think the solid bet is a Bristol home win.
Yeah. I think we've both gone Bristol on that game, haven't we? So
yeah, we have. Game 2, interesting, is one I absolutely hate, not the game, but trying to pick a winner. Leicester against Sale. First game for a new coach, Alex Sanderson, up against Steve Borthwick, who knows well, for a team that's won 5 of the 6 on the road. I mean, it's a real flip of the coin, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. But this Sale team, I go through the team sheets because fortunately these are a Friday game, so the team sheets are already out. And you compare the 2 teams, and Sale are hands down the better team. Now, I always think of Sale at the moment this season as being sort of mid-div, maybe bottom half in the way that they've played, and they haven't really inspired in terms of scoring tries. I think I can't remember, their try scoring is something that they've scored 9 tries, I think, this season. Compare that to the likes of Bristol, who are on 22, but they're quite they're quite stingy on tries as well. I think the second lowest tries conceded on 10. So whereas Leicester seem to concede a lot and really struggle to score. So I'm going for a Sale away win in terms of just the strength of the team that I see. You look at the people that are in there in the backs. You've got McGuigan, James, Hill, Yard, McGinty, Faf de Klerk. You've got Josh Bowman back. And then you've got the mighty South Africans in Van der Merwe, Dupree. And, whereas if you go through the Leicester team, it's sort of, you're struggling. You've got Wiggy. You've actually got a good centre partner in Maroney and Matt Scott now, but it's not quite standing out to me as that Sale team. Plus, you add in the Al Sanderson factor, and what we talked about on the podcast in touch, how much energy he brings to that group, and I think he's really going to have them feeling good before they go into this game. They're sat in fourth, which I couldn't believe they were still in fourth. And I see them winning relatively well. So I've even thrown in a Sale minus 3.5 on this one, if you wanted to look at something different. But I do feel that Sale are going to. I think Sanderson being in there is going to really sort of put some lead in their pencil, for a better word, and they'll come out firing.
I've avoided it.
Of course you have, because you're the ultimate fence sitter. You want a guarantee.
No, I'm not the ultimate fence sitter.
I looked at your accumulator for your bets, and it's pathetic.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a moment. You don't have to make millions every week. Just tick along. That's and you'll end up in a good place. Let's have a look at Saturday. Gloucester against Northampton. Gloucester are leaking points, I think it's fair to say. An average of 28 a game this season. They lost 8 of their last 9 in the Premiership. Saints, on the other hand, haven't played since Boxing Day, so likely to be a little bit rusty. I've gone Gloucester, just because at some point I think something is going to start happening for them. I also think this increased chat around ring fencing the Premiership might just get them relaxing and thinking, all right, well, we're going to be okay, therefore let's start playing. Also, Northampton, they haven't yet, I think, found the turbo. Yeah.
Look, I'm a little bit... I think the Saints have played a lot better than their position sort of suggests so far this season. I think they've been unlucky in a few games, but they've showed quite solid performances, but just haven't been on the right side of wins. They've managed to lose games rather than win them. And whereas Gloucester, as you say, are leaking for fun. And what doesn't sort of bode well with me is that, you look back at the Newcastle game and the amount of rugby they played 10 metres from their own line, and then put them under more trouble. I don't see that changing at the moment, and they're going to sort of keep going that way, so they are going to be susceptible for the opposition getting easy tries. I mean, there have been games that they've just thrown away because they've chanced their arm too much when they didn't need to. Now, that's a learning curve for someone like Lloyd Evans, and obviously not having Willie Hines there as well. In terms of experience, you're sort of missing that. So I've actually, and I feel very bad for saying this, but I've actually gone with Northampton to win this game.
Right.
I wouldn't mind being proved wrong on this, but I just don't see the level of consistency that I would want to see, and I think Northampton have been playing better.
Interesting. We divide who will conquer. Game 4 of the weekend. I mean, it's the second game on Saturday, I should say. Worcester against Exeter, which, I mean, normally the question would be how many for Exeter, but actually they've scored 12 points in their last 2 games. A lot of players away, obviously, on Six Nations duty. You imagine it's the perfect time to be playing them if you're the Warriors. But I just sort of wonder at what point the Exeter machine will start spluttering into action again. Is this it, or is this another potential banana skin?
Yeah, I mean, this is the aura that Exeter have now sort of present themselves with, in the fact that you just can't see them going a third game without having a decent performance. And Worcester have shown glimpses, but again, that they concede a lot of points. They've conceded 122 points, one of the most in the league. So I expect Exeter to win, but again, it's going to be interesting what chats they've had over the last 2 weeks in terms of finding their mojo, getting back to enjoying what they're doing and looking like what they're doing, and whether they've managed. What that 2 weeks could have done is, I think, Baxter. I hate that we now call him Baxter because Jack Noel has taught us just to say Baxter.
Always reminds me of Anchorman.
I know.
Baxter.
I don't speak Spanish. I think, has he managed to recharge that battery? I think that 2 weeks has possibly come at a perfect time for them to sort of really taper back and allow them to get some energy back in that tank. And sit back, reflect, and him to spend some time and just maybe show some old footage of what they were doing before. And if they can find that mojo, it's a comfortable win for them. But I think it's going to be closer than what many would expect. But you've got to believe that Exeter will come out with a win on the top of that.
I've gone Exeter as well, which is no great surprise. It'll be interesting to see if Ashton plays for Worcester, but I think Exeter have got just more tools at their disposal, so to speak. Game 5, Irish against Newcastle, which is another one I've avoided because I like sitting on the fence. No Mark Wilson, no Gary Graham for Newcastle. Irish have tightened up defensively, actually. They were conceding the most tries per game last season with 4, but now they're down at 1.5, which is obviously a huge improvement. Again, it's a horrible one to try and call this. It's, you're looking at a 50-50 split. Newcastle going well, but London Irish getting better.
Look, it's clear that what London Irish have managed to do is sort their defence out. I think 68 points they've conceded. I think it's only 7 tries they've conceded, but the problem for them is they've only scored 72 points. They've only managed to cross the whitewash. I think it might be 6 times. So scoring points is a problem for them. What we know about Newcastle is their ability to get the job done. They've gone to some tough opposition already this season and managed to come away with wins. So I comfortably went straight for a Falcon win. I think they've got a great team ethos going on, and they have learned that ability to know how to win, which is crucial going into games like this. So I am fully going with a Newcastle win. I don't think it's going to be a high scorer. I think Newcastle will just have enough to grind it out.
I've left it alone because I've sort of got that sensation with Newcastle at the moment. It's like when Leicester City were going on their run to the Premier League title. You just keep wondering at what point they're going to run out of petrol or something. Do you know what I mean? And what I will say about this game is I think it's absolutely fascinating. If Newcastle do turn up and beat London Irish, then I think they've got a hell of a story that they can tell this campaign. I think if London Irish, who obviously pulled it back against Quins last time out, are able to find their way through the line, then I think both will probably muddle mid-table. So it's a fascinating game. I'm not putting a pound on it.
Yeah, I mean, the problem that I also see with Irish is their set piece. Their scrums have been down at quite far down the list, and their lineouts. Whereas you look at Newcastle, they're solid up in the 90% in terms of wins, and in games like this, it could come down to those sort of stats. It could be a place where you just need your set piece to function, and Newcastle are showing that they're very solid in that area.
Quins, though, obviously taking on Wasps this weekend. Do they get that bounce back ability, in the words of Ian Dowie, having change at the helm, or is this Wasps and in style?
I think again, I would sort of obviously I put Quins in a roller coaster sort of way as well. They have this ability to score points and tries, but at the same time they've had the ability to falter, whereas Wasps at the moment are singing. Now, obviously they're going to be missing a couple of key players in terms of Robson and
Adogwu,
Willis.
Jack Willis.
So, but I think Wasps have managed to still perform even when they have missed those guys. So, on paper, if you look at the table, it's 5th taking on 7th. I would still favour Wasps, but again, we're going into sort of end of a coach. Do we get there? Do we get the feel good factor of the shackles are off? We're going to enjoy ourselves, and does that put into a performance? I've gone on the Wasps just because their scoring is prolific, and I still see that ability even with the players that they've lost out of their squad. But they do concede, and same with Quins. So again, I see it being open. I see it being entertaining, offloading, high tempo. But I think that suits Wasps better and the finishes that they have.
Yeah. I think Wasps at home are hard to bet against teams that are below them in the table at the moment. Right, let me give you Tin's bets this week. He's gone bold, and BetUK.com very kindly have boosted his boldness as well. So Tin's has gone Bristol, Sale, Northampton, Exeter, Newcastle and Wasps. And that as an accumulator would have got you 8-1, but because Tin's has picked it out of the hat, BetUK.com have boosted that to 10-1. It's got to be worth a couple of quid. I'm playing far safer this weekend. It's about the long game for me, little incremental wins week by week. And so I've gone Bristol at home to Bath, Exeter away at Worcester, Gloucester, which I think has probably got the most value in there, and Wasps. And BetUK.com have boosted that from 2-1 to 5-2. So a slim boost, but a boost nevertheless. Tin's is your Hail Mary. Mine is hopefully a little more considered. Take your pick. Make your own minds up. That's the fun of the game. That is it for our BetUK.com preview show for another week. Hopefully our tips will be of some use to you. Steer clear or dive in wherever you see fit. Don't forget the main show this week with the fantastic Cheslin Colby, the game's true hot stepper of the moment right now. See you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.